Live from Cool Boys Central.
You're the boss down there. I'm boss up here.
Hold your dicks and rub your tits.
You'll be ice cold.
Here come the Cool Boys.
Just a young boy.
So cool.
So cool. So cool.
Oh, it's Cool Boys.
I'm so upset that nobody gives a shit about Apophysis.
I don't think that's real.
It is real. That's the problem. Everyone likes to believe in conspiracy theories so much that when this real thing happened, everyone just immediately thinks, oh, well, that's so fantastical. That's a conspiracy theory. There's a reason Russia and China both have operations already in go, already planning for it, because when it enters the atmosphere, it'll enter over Siberia. And it'll start to burn the sky. Also, it'll start to break apart, causing a fucking like a hellstorm shower across Russia and China, all the way over the Pacific, all the way until it hits land, which will be when it burns up the ocean around 600 kilometers off of Santa Monica. Neil deGrasse Tyson believes in this. This isn't a theory. This is a legit thing. Apophysis.
Apophis, we know how big Apophis is.
Oh, we do.
So it's not how big Apophis would be, it's how big is it. It's about 300 meters across, and if you sort of measure that out with a corresponding sizes of structures, it's about the size of the fully open Rose Bowl in Pasadena. So the field plus all the seats, that would plunk nicely into that like an egg sits in an egg cup. Yeah. So that would, if that hits, it would, the most likely place it would hit would be the Pacific Ocean, and it would raise a 50-foot tsunami that would wipe clean the west coast of North America. Have a nice day. Yes, okay. But no one has to die because we would predict when this happens. We would know it. This is the good thing about the laws of physics.
It'll fly through the keyhole. And if it flies through the keyhole, it means it's hitting Earth in 2036. If it misses the keyhole, it does not hit Earth in 2036.
Apophis. That's Apophis.
Apophis, excuse me. But still, it's not like I mispronounced it so much that you're like, oh, there's so many asteroids. I totally thought you were talking about a different thing.
No, I've never heard of it.
Existed.
No, because I was getting nothing when I clicked on it.
So, yeah.
Apophis.
They figured this out in 2004, and it's been something that we've known about since 2004. And people like to think it's a conspiracy theory. Unfortunately, it's an absolute reality. This is like a legit Armageddon thing.
Oil drillers.
The oil drillers. That's all you got to get. 1 month's training.
All right. Well, whatever. 2036 is a long time from now. I'll probably be dead.
Yeah. Who knows? We could have heart attacks and shit and die.
Working on it.
It's fucking crazy, though. It's absolutely crazy. So the believed impact is 600 kilometers off the coast of Santa Monica.
Oh, really?
It is possible that it could impact all the way up to Africa and pass over Central America. Like the Yucatan peninsula, it'll pass over that if it doesn't hit the ocean right out of Santa Monica. Here's where the belief is, though. This is what's crazy. This is what Neil deGrasse Tyson describes it. So when the impact happens, it'll create this giant, fucking like ripple effect. And just like if you watch a droplet in slow motion, right? A droplet goes in and then it comes back out. There's like that droplet that just touches and then it comes back down again. Well, what's going to happen with this giant wave is it's going to come back to the impact point in the middle of the ocean where it'll go up into the atmosphere, boiling hot still, right? And then come right back down. And this second wave, as Neil deGrasse Tyson calls it, is going to be like sandpaper. It is going to be filled with debris from that first wave, and it is going to literally just wipe shit clean. There will be nothing to speak of. And it'll change landscapes. It'll also, here's the thing he said, it'll wipe out massive species of animals, will just be gone, like blue whales and shit like that.
All of this should be in the
gone.
Deadpool 2 spoiler cast, by the way.
Okay, great. And then this is the open. And then and Neil deGrasse Tyson said, but here's the great thing: it's not an Earth killer, and it's not gonna like wipe out the existence of humanity or all life on Earth. We'll know about it in such well in advance, 7 years in advance, that we'll have the ability to push and move all the people who need to and want to survive into safe locations across North America.
Yeah, that's if in 2029.
If it goes through the gravitational keyhole.
We determine that it's going to hit. Right now, the
Right.
expectation is 6.7 in a million that'll come true in 2029.
But dude, I mean, people won the lottery for fucking worse chances than that.
That's not, yeah, but there's not millions of people playing the lottery of being an asteroid. It's only one asteroid.
I'm just telling you, the extinction level events, this isn't, happen so often on this planet and throughout the galaxies that this is kind of fucking, who knows? You know what I mean? Maybe this is one of those like, take it down a notch. You know, we're gonna have the almighty universe just take you down a notch.
Okay, okay. So just to clarify, this is something that in 2029 we currently estimate there's a 6.7 in a million chance.
Don Quixote mission, by the way, that's the European Space Agency's operation for this thing. China and Russia do have their own.
So in 2029, if the 6.7 in a million hits, we'll then have 7 years to prepare for a relatively small impact that isn't that much bigger than things that we've done with nuclear explosions.
No, it'll be large.
And we'll evacuate everybody and quarantine the thing. Ow! Greetings, Cool Boy Nation, and welcome to a special installment of the Cool Boys Podcast. I'm Felk.
I'm Ballard. So cool.
This episode, we'll be discussing the Foxman universe and all the fabulous boaters it has given us.
Ooh.
So we will forgo our Cool Boy updates and get right into Deadpool 2.
It's time for
Spoilers. So juicy.
All right. Well, before we get into Deadpool 2, Felk, let's just take it down a notch and let's get into Deadpool 1.
All right.
Let's do our cool boy rating of Deadpool 1 so we can set a baseline, a standard that we can all be calibrated to. So I'll go first, Felk.
Okay.
I gave the first Deadpool a solid 4 out of 5. Boys.
I also give 4 out of 5.
It's not a 5 out of 5.
No.
It is really fucking good though. I don't know what could make it a 5 out of 5. I just think it was destined to be a solid 4 out of 5.
I don't think it
movie.
could be better than it was without changing the tone, because you can't ever be that invested in a movie that is that self-aware. You know you're watching a movie the entire time.
And it's a really simple plot, like almost like a Fury Road-esque plot, like a 90s, 80s action movie plot where it's very much on the rails.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe that's why it's a 4 out of 5er, because I don't know if there are very many rail-based plot lines that I can think of that are 5 stars, other than the obvious I just mentioned, Fury Road.
Yeah.
Fury Road is for sure a 5 out of 5, and it's fucking on rails, and it is just going down the track. But anyways, yeah, I love Deadpool a lot. I have watched it multiple times. I find it endearing.
I've only watched it once, and I can't really imagine it would be that exciting to revisit, just because I know, like, once you know the jokes and you know the story, there's not like a deeper level to it, right?
Yeah, there isn't, but it's really fun, and the jokes still work, and it's because they went for it, and it's R-rated, and I think that's why it works. I feel like if it was PG-13, if it was a little bit more toned down, middle-of-the-road Deadpool, I do feel that you couldn't go back to it on a regular basis. But I have gone back to it a few times, especially when I was on the road, watch it on planes or watch it in hotel rooms. Yeah, it's fun. And it's violent, and it has that, that energy behind the camera as an audience you feel, and you can tell that everybody was having a good time on that set, that the chemistry, the creative chemistry was flowing, and you can really sense that as an audience member. At least I can. And and then you can sense also when the other is happening, not to mention it, but unfortunately I will. When you watch things like Justice League or things like Thor: The Dark World or Iron Man 2, where you can really tell that people weren't really gelling on set, and the film suffered in the end for them. I mean, there's a lot of other movies like that as well, of course.
Oh, you don't think Mickey Rourke was gelling with the rest of the tone and cast of Iron Man 2, where he insisted that he needed to have a bird? His character had to have a goddamn bird.
I want my bird.
A bird? You want a bird?
I want my bird.
I can get you a bird. I can get you 10 birds.
I want my bird.
that comes out of fucking nowhere. They should have
Totally.
just CGI'd that bird out of there.
That was them like wanting. The problem with Marvel to some extent, and this is Marvel MCU, is that especially early on, is that
It was barely.
they
MCU.
always want to shoot like an auteurs film. They want to give like a director the reins of the movie, and then they rein that director in big time with the edit process. And I think that's what happens when you let people be like, yeah, we're gonna let Mickey Rourke, like the Mickey Rourke, like he's gonna fill the scene with his like, you know, his incredible performance to just chewing on everything, you know, just the back and forths and the, you know, it'll be electric and then you get in the edit and you're like, yeah, we kind of want this to be a fun summer blockbuster. All of this grandstanding that Mickey Rourke is doing isn't really going to play. So can we cut that down? And then you kind of see that with the villains. The actors who play the villains later on, when you see people like Mickey Rourke or Christopher Eccleston who are like, I will never work with Marvel again.
Eccleston said that because he does so little in that movie. I mean, there's
he hates it. He says it's his. I think he said it's flat out it's his worst film he's ever worked on ever.
Yeah, because he can really bring a villain. We know that from 28 Days Later. That like
we know that from G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra.
I mean, he has more character in G.I. Joe by far than it like he's at least somewhat memorable because he's hamming it up. He knows that he's doing like a
Felk, pop quiz, asshole. What's his name
Rude.
in G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra?
He plays Destro, doesn't he? Play Destro?
You're correct. Now, he also plays a very important villain from the comics, but what's his name in Thor: The Dark World?
Malachi, the fucking dark elf.
Malekith. Very close.
Malekith,
yes.
okay.
Malekith. But there's that almost hit my point home for me because you didn't even know his real name technically. Like you're very close.
I know. And I just rewatched it because I wanted to see because I mean, Ragnarok is so good and Thor is just so fucking likable. Hemsworth is so fucking likable. He is a blank fucking slate in Dark World. There is nothing to his character.
Well, that's because Alan Taylor was trying, once again, they hired a director to do something. Alan Taylor was trying to make a Game of Thrones episode, and then Marvel was like, yeah, see, we want this to be like a funny, cool, fun summer blockbuster. Sorry, Alan.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I'm just saying, like, there is nothing in Thor 2 that's interesting. Even Loki can't fucking save that movie.
Well, Felk, fortunately, Deadpool 2 is interesting and didn't, you know, fuck up like Thor 2 did.
I briefly thought we were going to be talking about Thor 2 for the entire...
Yeah, we're not. We got to switch this. So, Felk, what is your cool boy rating of Deadpool 2?
3.5 stars, boys. 3.5 boys. 3.5 boys.
I give it 3.5 boys as well, and it's a very simple answer why it's just 0.5 less. It's a lot of all the same.
Yeah.
It meets all hype requirements. It was honestly just not as funny as the first one, and because of that, some of the stuff that wasn't as funny, the reason it wasn't as funny, it felt a little derivative.
Isn't that a little derivative?
You're absolutely right. Now, let's go get our fuck on.
So one of the good things about Deadpool 2 is, other than they clearly just immediately set this thing where it's like, see, we're doing another flashback narration conversation, was the Bond open. I loved the Bond open.
I got it. This time they used the credits to be a joke about what had just happened.
Yes. Instead of directed by some asshole, it was that was kind of the same still, but it was like
it was directed by, because they were making a joke about how whoever's making this movie must be mean because they just killed Vanessa, but it did say directed by the guy who killed John Wick's dog, and it's from the director or co-director of John Wick. So
yeah, that's great. That reminds me of like Hot Shots kind of stuff, like when they would put like comedy into their credits or their titles sequences. I love in the original Hot Shots where there's like a whole recipe for fudge brownies that shows up at one point, like just during the middle of like art direction.
Yeah,
and then just,
I remember that.
All of a sudden there's like a fucking brownie recipe.
It's for muffins, I think. It's a legit recipe.
And yeah, it's a legit recipe. I like that kind of stuff when people like they know what movie they are and they're having fun. And I like Deadpool because of that. And I like Deadpool 2 definitely as well because of that. So Deadpool being the breaker of the fourth wall.
He talks at you.
He talks at us about, you know, why he was wanting to commit suicide. And there's a director's cut apparently that's going to be coming out at some point, most likely just Blu-ray. and there's more suicide.
The official quote about it actually says the DVD, and I'm like, what year does this Fox person think the movie comes out?
2002.
Yeah. Digital video disc.
But did you think there was any issues with killing Vanessa?
No. I did not expect it. So the term used when you kill off a female character in order to only give, with the only reason being to give a male character a purpose or plot, line, is called fridging, referencing some old movie or TV show where female character was literally put in the fridge. And I was surprised that they did that. Some people are saying that it's fridging, and that's bad. You shouldn't kill off a character just to motivate the male hero. Other people are saying it is a direct reference to that trope and like a commentary on it, and that's brave. I don't know which it is. I didn't mind it as a plot line. I actually I think what's her name? Chick from Homeland. She's
Marina Baccarin or whatever.
Yeah, in Firefly, Marina Baccarin, whatever. She's hot and she's likable, so I would have liked to have seen more of her, but they killed her off.
Originally they were going to have her break up with Deadpool, and then the writers thought like, oh, it'd be probably better. I guess someone was fishing the idea that like, would it be better if she was killed, because Deadpool does better when he suffers as a character.
Yeah. So I think it's fine. It made the movie set up the tone immediately. This was a darker movie, which works with the Cable plot line.
Who or what are you? A time traveler like you.
Yeah, it's something that Deadpool and Cable can share, right? They both lost. They both loved and lost. And the writers do go on to mention, like, also in an interview, that they realized that this could be seen as a sexist thing and whatever.
Yeah.
But it was not their intention to make it some kind of
commentary on it.
A commentary on women's roles in films. That's why they gave someone like Domino a very sizable role, a big role. I mean, she was great. I thought she stood out big time. And then on top of that, you also had Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Negasonic Teenage, what the shit? That's the coolest name ever.
And she's actually like a lesbian.
Yeah, that also felt like a kind of a commentary on it, where they were so overt about it.
Yeah, which was funny. I thought it was funny.
It is funny. They didn't go quite. They could have gone a little farther in making.
Well, they changed the joke, right? They didn't make the joke about anything LGBT. They made the joke about how a Japanese joke, right? So it was always like, "Hi Yukio, hi Wade."
Yeah.
Like it became a Japanese cultural reference more than it really became an LGBT reference.
I guess.
No, that's how they worked around it.
That wasn't Jubilee, right?
No, that was Yukio. That's the character from the Wolverine.
Huh.
You know, like Chris Claremont's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like storyline. Yeah, and she's kind of in the Wolverine movie. They just, because it's Fox Men, right? It's the Fox X-Men. They don't give a fuck about continuity. They're like, whatever. Yeah, she's younger, and it's now-ish, a couple years later. Because the Wolverine was 2013, and this is 5 years later, so yeah.
Oh, there's don't even. There's no fucking continuity at all in the X-Men movies. And Logan weirdly is the one that really just said fuck it. Like that makes no sense.
Oh, for sure.
That's a self-contained story, basically, except it's got casting continuity, so fuck it.
I liked how with the X-Men, whenever we went to X-Mansion, there was always the reference in the first movie, like, how come I only see you two whenever I come here? And this time it was you three. And then there's that one shot where it's like all the X-Men from 1990s. I was like, wait, these are the characters from the 90s version. Like, this is in X-Men Dark Phoenix, it's the 90s, or that's the 80s version if you count from the Apocalypse movie.
Yeah, they age really, really, really
What is going on with the aging of X-Men? It's so fucking weird. It does not make any goddamn sense. It was clearly like they were filming Dark Phoenix, and they're just like, can we just get a plate real quick if you guys just closing the door, and then we'll just, we'll put Reynolds in there later.
Yeah, probably.
And then we'll cut it all together with another mansion sequence later and just color time it to be the same. But like I don't know what the fuck. And then he mentions Patrick Stewart when he's talking about Cerebro.
Yeah.
When he's playing with Cerebro. I loved when he was dressed all nice, just playing with Cerebro, sitting on the couch, and he just knew everything fucking Colossus was about to say. I was laughing my ass off.
Well, he didn't know everything Colossus was about to say. He was
saying the sentences of obvious sentences before Colossus said them. Yeah, that was great. I love his duo with Colossus. Like I like the way that's like a buddy pairing that's been going on throughout both Deadpool films. And it's like the best Colossus. He's way better than what's his face, Peter Stormare. Not Peter Stormare. It's fucking
some Russian dude.
Definitely
not Peter Stormare.
It's definitely not Peter Stormare. But it's way better.
He's probably
it's
just a cute boy that Bryan Singer saw at a bar, like the guy who played Colossus.
I have some roles for you.
Yeah. You're gonna sleep on my couch.
I got some parties for you too. I thought the X-Men were well handled and better handled than this. I like how he was an X-Men trainee when he had to go meet Fire Fist.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. What do you think about Fire Fist? Completely original character created for the film.
Oh, really?
Julian Dennison is hilarious in Hunt for the Wilder People. But he is so good in this too. When he leaves Deadpool behind after like the prison convoy crash, and he just does the rope out of nowhere to leave Deadpool.
That character was one of the weak links of the movie because you're supposed to both be he does like comedy shit like that, but he also is like supposed to be like a future danger, which by the way reminded me a lot. I don't know how much is from Cable because it reminded me a lot of Brian Johnson's last fucking Looper, like where there's also just a kid who's like supposed to be evil in the future. We got to kill him now, and it's like that movie handled it pretty well because you could totally see how that kid was he was just like a kid. So like you could see like the Omen kind of shit in his eyes, where he could become like a really dangerous one. But this character was like. You never bought the idea of him growing up to be
I bought it near the end.
Evil.
I bought it near the end. Because he reminds me of like the Boondocks, like, I like to do bad things.
Letarian Milton is not your typical 7-year-old. Few his age have ever driven an SUV up and down several busy streets. It all started at his mother's townhouse. Letarian says he took the car keys and hopped into his grandmother's Dodge Durango.
When I came through the back door, I looked on the counter, my keys were gone.
I took my grandma's car because I got mad at my mom, and then I suddenly had my friend come in, and he smokes with cigarettes.
He started the vehicle and put it into gear.
I yanked the thing.
And off they went. 2 7-year-olds alone on the road. Letarian drove several miles through Lake Park and Palm Beach Gardens.
We got the one call that I told you about of a driver in the vehicle who looked too short to be able to see over the steering wheel.
Along the way, he ran over 2 mailboxes, hit 2 parked cars in a Costco parking lot, and struck 2 moving cars near Walmart.
I want to do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things, to drive into a car.
But did you know that you could perhaps kill somebody?
Yes, but I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friend.
I guess. I thought the character needed to be either pure, just nothing but dark shit, or he needed to be never treated as a serious, like, threat danger.
Maybe
that was one of the weaker links in the movie, and unfortunately, he is the plot, kind of the plot, but he's more of a narrative device, so it didn't damage the movie as a whole. It still worked.
I thought it worked for me when he went darker in the end. So he goes to school, or he's at an orphanage house, I guess.
Yeah,
called Essex House.
Nathaniel Essex.
We also had Essex Corp in X-Men Apocalypse as the end credit stinger.
Yeah, but that means nothing in reference to this movie.
Once again, with poor continuity, Mr. Sinister, unless the Essex Corp runs Essex House.
No.
That's a possibility, I guess.
This movie has no continuity with the X-Men movies.
I love that the Foxmen movies are just like, we don't care anymore. Fuck it.
Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Yeah, this one, the Deadpool ones are self-contained. They can be placed with the franchise.
Anyways, well, Fire Fist, he's being chased down by Cable.
His name is Cable, an American apparently.
The second time we've seen Josh Brolin in a big summer movie.
In time, you will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same. dread it, run from it, destiny still arrives.
I liked how Cable had the watch, the time, like his time travel watch. Did you notice that looked very similar to some photos that were leaked of the Avengers 4 set where they are wearing all, Tony Stark, Ant-Man, Captain America, and the Hulk are all wearing watches that are similar?
I have not seen this leaked photo. I'm Googling this Avengers 4 leaked photo right
Pretty
now.
fucking crazy if there's a possibility if they want to connect this Deadpool to...
They're wearing watches? I'm not seeing any watches.
Yeah, it looks like the 2012 Chitauri invasion on New York. It's like a complete recreation of that for...
oh, yeah, I see them now.
Yeah, I see the watches.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, time travel watches, I guess, are a thing. But they would all be alive. So is that they travel back to 2012?
Dude, who knows? They're probably... honestly, I think what they're probably doing is jumping like realities in the quantum zone. Like, that's what I think.
They're in costume and they all have tracking dots on them.
Yeah, I think they're bouncing through the quantum realm and somehow they're able to get to alternate realities. That's my best guess.
And Mark Ruffalo's got his Hulk's like mocap suit on, it looks like. Spider-Man's there.
Spider-Man's there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah, so people are thinking that those are like the moments we didn't see in the original The Avengers, the 2012 of The Avengers.
But why is Ant-Man there then? That doesn't. What do you mean?
Because he's taking them through the quantum realms. He's the
it's like Back to the Future 2?
Maybe. I think it's a possibility. Yeah, I think this might be like a best of hits of Marvel for the MCU. But let's get back to Deadpool 2. So when Cable finally time traveled, did you see the two guys, the two truckers that were on the bed, the like construction workers, whatever the fuck they were, farmers?
Yeah, I did not realize who that was. I now know who it was. And
who were they? Who were they, Felk?
Well, Matt Damon was one of them. Who's the other one?
Alan Tudyk.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, they were in like heavy makeup. It was a little cameo. I didn't know that Matt Damon was a friend of Ryan Reynolds, but it makes sense, I guess, now.
Yeah, they're both famous and powerful.
So, and they're all friends, right? Chris Hemsworth, Matt Damon, and Ryan Reynolds are possibly now all friends because of Matt Damon being in this movie. That brings us to X-Force, and one of the members of X-Force, the Vanisher, was played by
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, another buddy.
Yeah, he's definitely friends with Matt Damon. I mean, I don't. That entire cameo might have just been him saying like, "All right, I'll endorse this check that lets you use my face." He may not have even been on set. It's apparently 8 frames.
I think he was on set somewhere with a green screen, and they just asked him one day, "Can you just do a weird face?"
It doesn't even look like his face now. It looks like his '90s face.
You think they went back and like they took like a Legends of the Fall face and put him on him?
Well, I mean, they reference interview with the vampire several times in the movie, and it's like, and then Brad Pitt appears in it, and he looks fucking kind of like the same age he did then. Not with the vampire makeup, but like the same age. It's like kind of weird.
I liked how they killed off that we found out the Vanisher was a real person. Once we got to the helicopter, we see a random person, like an invisible man, right, holding, wearing a backpack. Then to find out that he dies and it's Brad Pitt, but we also get all of X-Force dying.
I wasn't sure until he died whether or not there was even supposed to actually be a Vanisher there, because it was like...
I did. I knew of it. I definitely knew of it. And then on top of that, like, you could see the backpack moves on someone's back at one point.
And at that point, I was like, oh, is there actually someone in there? Because like the first time,
I was laughing my ass off when they cut to the shot of the Vanisher skydiving.
Yeah.
I was like, and it's just a close-up shot of the backpack. I was laughing my ass off. Yeah. I loved the Peter shot when he's skydiving too. He looks so hard.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I loved it.
Yeah, that was a good joke, having everyone die immediately.
And then everybody dies. Bedlam, right? Terry Crews getting hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Zeitgeist getting sucked into a wood chipper.
Bill Skarsgård, they got him in. That was weird.
Yeah, yeah. And then Peter runs over and he's like, X-Force. And then Zeitgeist's like, yeah, X-Force. At which point, what? He spits acid onto Peter, killing Peter, who lets go of him and he gets thrown to the wood chipper.
Yeah.
And then, Vanisher hits Powerline.
Was his arm burns off and he dies.
Yeah, his arm burns off, and then Vanisher goes through power lines. Oh, Shatterstar was one of my favorites. Not only because he says he's actually from Mojo World, which I started laughing my ass off.
What is Shatterstar? I know that's like a thing, and I did not.
He's like one of the gladiators on Mojo World or something like that, and and he's like a badass that they just don't like for whatever reason, and he goes right into a helicopter blades.
Oh yeah, he's like one of the gayest characters, isn't he?
Yeah, and they just gave him all like comic accurate looks too because they're just so stupid. It was so good.
Yeah, it comes to the planet Mojo World about a century in the future.
Yep. And I like how he's just an alien and everyone just
he's gay. That's right. The character.
So I like that shit. And Domino, I thought she was great. I thought Domino was absolutely a great character. I thought she was funny as fuck. She was good in Geostorm. That actress, what's her name?
I have not seen Geostorm.
Zazie Beetz.
She's white, right?
Zazie
she's white
Beetz.
in the comics, and they decided to make her black, and that's fine. No one's going to complain about Domino being altered.
Yeah, and Domino's so fucking hot. Like, and like she had, oh dude, they kept pushing her taste through the chin. But she is hilarious in Geostorm, and she just plays a hacker in Geostorm, and it's the stupidest fucking role, and she knows it, and everyone in that movie knows it. See Geostorm.
Sassy.
5 out of 5, Geostorm. It's amazing. And then, of course, they get the X-Force is used for a mission to take over the prison convoy, and that convoy has the Juggernaut in it. And the Juggernaut was motion captured, his face, and voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, which I did not know. I didn't realize it was him. It was kind of a weird voice. We've already, of course, had Juggernaut in one of the best X-Men movies, best comic book movies ever made. X-Men 3 or the X-Men The Last Stand.
Also, with the Colossus that was redone. See, Deadpool and Deadpool 2 both were like completely like art designed from a scratch, Colossus and Juggernaut. They're like, no, we're doing comic accurate Juggernaut. We're doing comic accurate Colossus. And like it was crazy to see comic accurate Juggernaut like on screen, and like not Vinnie Jones version in a muscle suit, but like
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
I'm the Juggernaut. Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
Seeing like a comic accurate Juggernaut still looked a little CGI, but I thought it was crazy. I was like one of those things. You're just like, Jesus, what a force! Like if they did him even more justice with him when he runs and he can't be stopped, especially like the Last Stand.
Well, that was correct. Where like he couldn't be stopped physically from moving. They didn't really do that in this movie.
If they did that in this movie, yeah, they didn't. You're right. That's what I'm trying to say. If they did that in this movie, it would have been crazy to see how much of a force of nature Juggernaut really is in live action.
By Ellen Page. That's not an imposing thing.
I'm the wrong guy to play hide and seek with.
Who's hiding, dickhead?
And then she has him run into a wall near near what is it, Leech or whatever, right?
Yeah, because he doesn't have the power, so he hits a wall. I mean, it's clever how a teleport or whatever she is. Not I don't know the fancy name for that power. Phasing.
Don't you know who I am?
Phasing. She can phase through things.
I was actually surprised when Juggernaut showed up. I did immediately think of the I'm the Juggernaut bitch, and I was kind of surprised that was not actually called on at all.
No.
Yeah, it's the Juggernaut, bitch. Yeah, Charles, I'll beat the shit out you. Get off me, bitch. Who the fuck are you? What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
You get a motherfucker. I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Silly bitch, your weapons cannot harm me. Don't you know who the fuck I am? I'm the Juggernaut.
Hey.
Oh, motherfucker, I thought I forgot.
Your mama dresses your ass for
Charles. Shut the fuck up, Charles. I'm gonna beat your ass.
Too fast.
You better run, Charles. Get that shit out of my face, bitch. Don't you know who the fuck I am? Oh, she's fucking with my helmet. I got this shit in 4th grade. Oh, no! My face. Pimp smack your ass, bitch. You my hooker now. Now it's time for me to take my prize. I'm gonna rape you, bitch. You ready? You ready? You ready, huh, bitch? You ready, bitch? Shut the fuck up, Charles. Shut the fuck up. Charles, no! Charles, you got in my head. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
I loved when Juggernaut ripped Ryan Reynolds in half, and he goes, my legs, where are my legs? Oh, there they are. He starts touching them.
Yeah.
And then he starts to grow baby legs, like he had to regrow a hand in the last movie.
Yeah, well,
But
the very opening, his head is blown off in that big explosion. So did his whole body regrow from the head, or when he was in that bag that Colossus was carrying, did his they kind of reconnect?
I think he was at the X Mansion for quite a while, and they probably just, like the same area they laid Wolverine down and scanned him for his adamantium skeleton. I think they probably did the same thing. They just laid him down and slowly put the jigsaw puzzle together. That is Deadpool.
Yeah, probably.
That is Wade Wilson. And I liked when he started growing out baby legs and he had a Todd bod and he was just had this little random legs. And he did the Basic Instinct. Like as soon as I heard that music kick in, I'm like, I know this music. What is this? And then the music's Basic Instinct when he crosses his legs.
It's nice.
And then they show him walking. I was laughing my ass off.
That was funny. By the way, TJ Miller is very funny in this movie. And it's kind of sad that they're not going to let him be in the next one. Although he may be.
Is there going to be a next one?
Oh, there's no way. This 300 million in opening weekend.
If Disney gets Fox in the end, I mean, do they have time to spit out a mediocre Deadpool 3, or do they have time to spit out a great Deadpool 3 by Fox? And does Disney allow them to do R-rated?
What's happening with that? Because Dark Phoenix is coming out, so is there any plans to incorporate the X-Men?
By the way,
do we know?
Cool Boy Nation, if you didn't know this right now, Felk was actually very accurate with that title. It's not called X-Men Dark Phoenix. It is being promoted currently as Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, I know. So, but that is coming out. It does have the current new cast. More or
it
less.
just got pushed back to a year, and so did New Mutants.
That one, who knows? Because that one may not have any connectivity to the X-Men universe.
It's supposed to, and they went back to the some reshoots to make sure that they added more, something like that. Who knows?
That is a mess.
Well, I wonder if we're going to get Deadpool 3. I really wonder. This is my hope. Disney knows that there's gold with this Deadpool, and when he enters another franchise, say a Captain America franchise, a Thor franchise, an Avenger franchise, a Black Panther franchise, an Ant-Man franchise, a Spider-Man franchise, whatever the fucking franchise he enters, he is going to have to enter a PG-13 franchise. And then he can call and reference it and go, oh, I'm in a PG-13 franchise. Guess I can't say words like or and you play to it, right? You play the fourth wall breaking. I think that's the only way to do it. And then, but Disney, they may just scrap it. Entirely.
I think they'll let him. Ryan is so dedicated that I think he'll convince the right people, no matter who owns the rights, and he'll get a third one made. And because these movies don't have to have any continuity. I mean, he does call Cable Thanos at one point.
Pump the hate brakes, Thanos.
If he can straight up reference the MCU and its casting, then why not just let them make a third one and have it be a self-contained story with references that have zero continuity to the previous films, but maybe have a cameo here or there.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it.
No way that the time travel from Cable ties into Avengers 4 though.
I just think that might be just
coincidence.
Hopeful, wistful, planned corporate synergy. That's my guess. You know what I mean? So that if it were to move Deadpool into the Disney brand or under the Disney umbrella, this version of Deadpool, this R-rated version, look how we already can even call upon old stuff, but we're already working towards you. Because even currently as is, I can see the MCU being like, we'll just take your Colossus and your Negasonic Teenage Warhead already. Thank you. You guys already did a good job with that. Done.
Yeah, maybe. They probably want to keep that Negasonic Teenage Warhead. They seem to like her. Although
why
she's
not?
boring
Right?
in this one. She doesn't do anything.
She does, and she isn't supposed to in this one because they gave other characters more time to shine. I mean, you had to have Cable, and this is one of those type of action films where you don't fill the cast with a whole bunch of people unless you're going to kill them off as a joke, and you let the very specific small core really just play to all of their storylines and their character developments and the comedy that comes from that. Let's move on to final tidbits.
Just the tidbits.
So, did you notice that we didn't have a Stan Lee cameo?
No, because I didn't. I mean, he was in the first one, I guess, in the strip club. So no, I did not notice it.
He was in the short film too, whatever it was, that new Deadpool short film that came out before this, that was directed by this director. He was in that one, but he was in Netflix style Stan Lee cameo in this one. He was a prisoner that showed up on the heads up display for cable when he was trying to figure out the prisoners at the Icebox, which is the Canadian prison, superhero prison.
Yeah.
In the comics at least. So yeah, so that's how Stan Lee got into this movie. So let's move on to those end credit scenes. Felk, did you see him this time?
I did not. I had to poop, so I just ran out, and apparently I missed an important one.
Felk, this is what you missed. So the very first thing shows Negasonic and Yukio working on the time watch. The time travel watch and for Deadpool, and they modify it, and then Deadpool takes it and he's all like, bye Yukio, and she's like, bye Wade, and then he goes back in time right away. Then it's Wade killing the guy with the cheese knife properly and saving Vanessa's life.
Okay, so she's back
thus
alive.
Taking the entire plot of the film and rendering it worthless, which is incredible. Like they come way to subvert expectations. It's a cutscene moves, essentially end your movie on it was worthless. The movie never happened. Anyways, then he goes on into X-Men Origins Wolverine, and he kills Weapon 11 XI.
Well, this is also just a note: the Wolverine movie takes place immediately before the events of Days of Future Past, which means that the very last movie in the X-Men series, that also didn't happen. They just wiped that out of existence.
Yes, and Gambit will change at some point from Taylor Kitsch to Channing Tatum in some other era.
That movie never comes out. I'm telling you that we never see that movie.
Yeah, if Gambit ever happens, Gambit will never happen if it goes to Disney. No. Or it'll happen once X-Men is established under the Disney umbrella. And then so after he kills Weapon XI, he kind of tells Hugh Jackman, "Hey, I loved you, or I love you, or whatever." And he waves at him. So it's like Hugh Jackman finally was in a Deadpool film, even though it's just recut footage from X-Men Origins Wolverine. And then then it goes credits, and then it comes out of credits again. And then the next thing is Ryan Reynolds saying, "You finally broken into the business," or "You finally did it." And he's looking at a script called Green Lantern. And then all of a sudden, a bullet hole appears in his head. And blood explodes all over the script, Green Lantern. And Ryan Reynolds is dying, and Deadpool just killed Ryan Reynolds.
That would have been funny. I'll see it eventually. I'm sure Cam will come out soon.
And he says something like, "That's for you, Canada," something to that effect. He's like, he saved Canada.
Somebody does talk shit about Canada, and he's like, "Watch your whore mouth." There's like a line where he defends it. I think it's to J. Miller.
Yep. So yeah, that's that. Those are the end credit scenes, and I stayed to the end. Here are two end credit sequences that almost happened. One, I think, was shot and they just didn't put it in the film, and the other one was never shot. So I'm going to let Felk pick which was actually shot and which wasn't shot. So the two end credit scenes that did not make the cut were, one, he recruits the Human Torch, played by Chris Evans.
Yeah, they didn't shoot that.
Or two, he kills baby Hitler.
I think they shot that.
Yeah, so apparently they shot killing baby Hitler and they couldn't put it in the movie. It was just like, studio was like,
too dark.
Way too dark. And they never shot Chris Evans, but that would have been awesome. If they had Chris Evans' Human Torch, that would have been great.
Is it morally right to kill baby Hitler?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well that's supposed to be like a big ethical debate.
Oh no, absolutely, 10 times out of 10. If you don't kill baby Hitler though, there's potentially lots of science that will never go, or could be modified in a lot of ways. I really wonder how science would have gone down, like jet propulsion and all that shit.
Yeah,
I mean, so much came out of the innovation that was needed to fight World War II on both European theater and Pacific theater.
Or maybe we never develop nuclear capabilities, and as a result, war like ravages the planet in alternate world 2018. Because the whole thing about maybe we should have given the Manhattan Project the fucking Nobel Peace Prize is because after that we all kind of had to rethink war. War can only now be like Vietnam level conflicts. It can't be something where you're trying to destroy another country altogether because, now we have the ability to do it. Everybody does.
You can almost say that nuclear weapons brought peace.
Yeah, that's why there were 0 deaths in the Cold War, officially. I'm sure there were some secret ones.
So we should give our quick Cool Boy rankings of all the films in this franchise. Now, do you want to do a Foxman franchise ranking or do you want to just do Deadpool?
Let's do it. Fuck it. Let's do them all.
Fuck it.
Jesus Christ. I don't know if I could do them all.
I can do them all real fast. All right. Starting with the worst for me. We'll alternate. Worst for me is Apocalypse. No, what worst for me is X-Men Origins. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yes, that would be the worst for me as well. X-Men Origins Wolverine, yes.
Okay, moving down. I'm going to go Apocalypse now.
Yes, I will go Apocalypse as well. X-Men Apocalypse. I also do not like that movie quite a bit.
All right. Move it down. I'm going to say next up would be Last Stand.
Yeah, I would say X-Men and Last Stand as well.
I disagree.
And I think this is where Cool Boy Noli would argue, because I think he put that a little higher. But yeah, I would say The Last Stand is definitely next for me as well.
Let's keep it going. I'm going to go Wolverine. The Wolverine.
No, I'm going to go X-Men.
Okay. Keep it going. I'm now going to go X-Men.
Okay, now I'm going the Wolverine, and I only consider the unrated version.
We're doing okay. I was trying to remember them all. All right, what's left?
I know. I can go next, I guess. I know it's after the Wolverine for me.
I'm actually going to go Deadpool next. First, sorry, Deadpool 2 next.
Deadpool 2, really? Oh, I would I would probably actually put Logan there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Logan's better than this.
Logan didn't gel with me as much as it did with everybody else, and I have a lot of issues, especially with the way the villain of Logan ends up being just younger Hugh Jackman.
Right.
I don't want to get into that right now, but
I can only keep so many of these in my brain at once.
Exactly.
Days of Future Past is next for me.
I went the Wolverine, then I went Logan. I would say, I think now I would put Deadpool 2 in there.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do the first Deadpool.
Yes, and now I am also Deadpool 1 as well.
Now I'm Logan.
Now I would be, I would have to say, Days of Future Past.
And I think the last one for me now is X2 as the best.
Same. Yep, X2, X-Men United. That's the best.
It's the best. Yeah. I agree. I think
it is, and it leaves you with potentially the best storyline ever. We were. One of the things I love about X2 is it ends like fucking never ending story ends. I mean, it's practically like you see the Phoenix rising under the water, and it's like turn around. Look at what you dream, and just like you're swelling, everything is swelling up in you. So yeah.
Too bad that didn't really pay off very well in the next one.
But that all being said, Deadpools are clearly on a vision right now, Ryan Reynolds' vision, and these Deadpools are great, and they were both really high up on our lists.
Yeah, they are. They're both very, very watchable movies.
Yeah, and I would honestly put, for watchability, I'd probably put Deadpool 2 over Deadpool, because I think the widening of the universe always makes for a more fun second and third and fourth viewing.
By the way, this movie does have, Deadpool 2 does have the line where he says, "Hey everybody, we're the X-Men." We're an outdated metaphor for racism in the 60s. I was wow, that way to nail it. Because they've tried to make it about other things, like the last X2 has the closest where they do the gay thing with the "Have you tried not being a mutant?" Coming out scene. And it's just like, well, that doesn't really work as a metaphor, because nobody thinks gay people are dangerous the way they would think mutants are. Because then X-Men 3 just like has that line where like, how does democracy stand when like one man can move buildings with his mind? I'm sorry, like gays don't really work as a metaphor for science fiction. I've never seen a movie or franchise do it right. Because like True Blood with all the like, coming out of the coffin and God hates fangs and the whole second season where it's like an evangelical church is like against the vampires and stuff. It's like that metaphor does not fucking make sense when you establish vampires as actual monsters who eat people and are only now, quote, coming out of the closet, unquote, because they develop true blood, which allows them to live off non-human blood, although plenty of them still feed off humans non-consensually. And it's like, that doesn't work as a metaphor for gay people anymore because you've made them scary legitimately. The X-Men never really got like that into being a metaphor for anything modern because nothing really worked the way that the original 60s having it be about racism worked, and as a result, totally, it's just more superhero shit.
And you know what? I wonder if something like Deadpool is going to be able to get away with that in a really constricted environment like Disney, where we have to play to 4 quadrants, and we're gonna have to have a theme park ride at Deadpool. We can't. Oh no,
dude! This movie's not even being released in China, and a lot of that has to do with the just having a gay character in it of Negasonic Teenage Warhead means that the movie will not be. They're not even trying to get it in China, so it's like, no other fucking Marvel movie is gonna not play in China.
And I love how they mentioned their box office in the film, and they talked about The Last Temptation of Christ and them, and then how they switch over just because of global.
Because, Jesus isn't going to be The Last Temptation of Christ is not open in China at all. The first,
but what did he say? He said like internationally where religion doesn't exist or something like that.
And he's talking about top grossing R-rated movies, where he's number 2 because of Last Temptation of Christ. Pretty amazing. No fucking movie will beat that at an R rating. I don't see how it's possible unless you come up with another. Well, I guess Bell's doing a sequel, which is gonna be weird. I don't know. I know how that story ends.
What story?
The Jesus one. He flies up to heaven.
Wait, how's he doing a sequel?
He's doing a sequel to the
He's doing Easter?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's Ghost right there. That's not getting into China no matter what.
Technically a ghost, I guess. Yes, in some way. Cool Boy Nation, tell us what you thought about Deadpool 2 by emailing us at thecoolboyspodcast@gmail.com. New episodes of the Cool Boys Podcast come out every Tuesday. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitter, and Facebook, and please rate and review us as well. You can also donate to us on Patreon and receive additional content like Cool Boys After Dark and special full movie commentaries. It only costs $1, and you'll receive special access to content too hot to air. You can find the Cool Boys on Patreon at patreon.com/coolboyspodcast. Please check out our other great Cool Boy Central content with Batman and Beyond, a Cool Boys podcast, available on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Patreon, where the Cool Boys have an uncensored discussion about Batman, the animated series, everything ranging from bat tips to bat nips, and all the boners they've given us. Thank you for listening. Stay cool, Cool Boy Nation. Until next time, it's Byzies from Felk.
And that's Byzies from Ballard.
You are standing American boy.
You have excelled in all things.
I pump while I dump. Oh, yeah.
So cool.
Oh, yeah. So cool.
Oh, yeah.
So cool.
Get out of here, damn silly. Get out of here!
Oh, yeah.
This episode of the Cool Boys Podcast was brought to you by... Basically, up to you is what you're saying.
Up to you or up to me?
Up to me, as whether or not I want to take the time to...
Only who can prevent forest fires?
That's one of the most brilliant jokes in the history of comedy.
Only who can prevent forest fires? You pressed you, referring to me. That is incorrect. The correct answer is you.
Get some cool boys. So serious.